Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I have something really cool to go over, and this is the very first piece of Star Wars ever released officially, and it is the Star Wars A New Hope novelization called Star Wars From the Adventures of Luke Skywalker. And this is written by Alan Dean Foster, but it is coined to be written by George Lucas due to I forget the exact reason why, but, you know, it was George's story and Fox had this whole thing, and then I guess he just wanted his name to be out in public more, so he put his name at the top. But really, Alan Dean Foster wrote it with George Lucas kind of giving him the whole story and telling him how to do it. So yeah, this is the 14th edition printing, I believe. Yeah. But this was originally released before the movie came out in 1976. And this is incredibly difficult to find. Incredibly difficult. And I'd be surprised if you could just get it online. You know, it's a rare find that I found for an insanely cheap price, probably because it's 14th edition. But some of the lore in here proves that the prequels were already written, you know, outlined before the original trilogy started. Senator Palpatine and the Old Republic, there's all of these, you know, little hints to the prequels, I guess. And, you know, kind of the outline of Order 66 is in here. It's really cool to see, you know, the progression of the story. And I bought all three of the original novels, the first edition copies, so I know no one messed with it. And there's stuff in them that proves George had the whole prequel trilogy outlined before A New Hope. And that's, like, crazy. And, you know, at least during the original trilogy era, he developed it completely. And people say, oh, well, the prequels, they were developed later, blah, blah. It's not true. He actually developed them way before, you know, any of the original movies. He had it all outlined. And then by the time of Return of the Jedi, he had specifics, and he had names, and he had all of these things. So it's awesome, dude. And this is actually, the prologue is a piece from the First Saga Journal of the Whills. And that is amazing too, because that is a deep piece of Star Wars lore that we've only seen on screen once, and that was Star Wars The Clone Wars, when Yoda goes to, what's it called? It's not Korriban in canon. It's Moraband, right? And he goes to see, you know, the Sith Temple, and the Whills, you know, end up meeting with him and talking to him for a little bit. So that's how Yoda learns more about the Force when he's trying to commune with Qui-Gon, you know, during his path, that whole arc. And they're the ones telling the story of Star Wars. It's in the perspective of the Whills, which are those weird, like, white, wispy, you know, beings that we see Yoda speak to in Clone Wars. And everything, you know, is in their eyes. And they exist outside of time and space, and they just know how everything's going to happen. And kind of, it's a very interesting piece of Star Wars that I'm going to be talking to you guys about at some point. But, you know, to see that actually is, you know, embedded in the story and not just the title of one of the first scripts is really, really amazing. And there's tons of stuff in here just about the emotions of the characters and how, you know, this is the best way to, like, really dive into the characters' minds, you know, because it has all the description that you can't do in a movie, right? You can't talk about someone's thoughts in a movie. You can't do that. You can examine them, and examine them really well, like I have, but and understand them really well like I have, but some people need to see it on the page to really understand it, and it's right here. And it'll help you really understand how these characters act, how they run, what their motives are, etc. And I'm really interested to read that, and I will be sharing on the channel, you know, all the stuff I learned and all the details that, you know, were included in this and weren't included in, you know, the official Star Wars lore, you know, to the Legends timeline, even like elected president of the Republic, right? Like there's tons of like little things like that in there where it's cool to see like the raw lore before it was developed. By the time of, I'd say 1995, we had most of the like basic fundamental pieces of lore solidified. And then the prequels came out, added to it, etc. But yeah, there's tons of vocab in here that you wouldn't, you know, see in Star Wars anywhere else. Because it's so like, it's such a prototype to the saga that there's stuff in here George was like, no, I don't think it should be called that. I don't think this should be done this way. And George kind of goes through and he changes it and edits it and, you know, puts it out in different books. So like it's all George's changes, you know, but still very, 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 very cool, you know, thing to own. And they sell the whole trilogy at Barnes & Noble and the, you know, thick chapter book, but I haven't seen any of this content in it, you know, some of this content in it. So I think they're removing, the Disney copy of the book is removing stuff to fit canon, is what I believe. I don't remember seeing the prologue or a lot of this in the, you know, big Disney version. So it'll be really cool to read, you know, the official George Lucas era one, you know, and I have the whole prequel trilogy in a collection that isn't Disney, and it's, you know, Lucas era, and those are amazing. And I learned tons about Qui-Gon and Anakin and Obi-Wan throughout that whole series. And then we'll learn a bunch about Luke and Vader and the Emperor and Leia and Han and Chewie and 3PO and R2, all of them, you know, throughout this next trilogy of books. And then I bought the first book of the New Jedi Order. I think it's a trilogy. I'm gonna grab it. Hold on. Called Jedi Search. So it's called the Jedi Academy trilogy, and this is the original, like, pure sequel to the original trilogy. The sequels of Star Wars, I guess. These are the sequels, and I've never really dived into the Legends version before because that era is such a sore time for me, I guess, because of what the movies did. But yeah, so stay tuned. We have a lot of cool stuff coming, probably daily. So yeah, see you soon. Probably see you tomorrow. So may the Force be with you always.